All right, I'm here to do my next career day interview. I'm very excited and I'm on location here. So if you could please introduce yourself to those watching and let us know what it is that you do.
Good. So my name is Quinn Kelly. I'm a pharmacist, and we are here at my pharmacy, or my family's pharmacy, Kelly's Pharmacy, in Greenville, New York.
Right. So what steps did you have to take to get to where you are now as a pharmacist working?
For starters, deciding that that's what I wanted to do was probably the most important part. And then finding what college I wanted to go to. Obviously, growing up around in Greenville, Albany College of Pharmacy being the closest pharmacy school to me, that kind of drew me to that. The fact that my dad also went there was kind of a huge deal. So the first step would just be knowing what I wanted to do. Second step was knowing where I wanted to go for school there. And then I had some work to do to get my grades up, so I went to Hudson Valley for about 2.5 semesters, got my grades up, and then got accepted into pharmacy school.
I think that's awesome that you mentioned that, because students kind of need to see that there's not just one path to get to where you need to go.
Absolutely.
There are ways, and if you're committed, you can reach it.
Mm-hmm.
So walk us through a typical day in your field of work.
Okay. So here in our Greenville store, we open up at 9 a.m. Either myself, my dad, and one of our technicians will get here usually at about 8 a.m. Unless it's my dad, he'll get here at about 6 a.m. And then from the time where we open, from the time when we get here to when we open, it's just all of our prep work. Making sure all the prescriptions are filled beforehand for whatever we can fill. People that are due first thing in the morning, filling the robot, getting ahead of all the phone calls. Whatever we can do to make our workday run smoother for customers and make it easier, that's all the stuff that we do in the beginning. We open up at 9 a.m. and then it's full force from 9 a.m. till 7, Monday through Friday, and then 9 to 5 on Saturday and 9 to 3 on Sunday. So that would be, that's usually how the day starts, pretty early and right off the bat.
Go.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, just like that.
Gotcha. So what do you love most about your job as a pharmacist?
I like people, and I like to be patient-facing, so I like to be able to talk to them, sometimes not even about their health or prescription. Actually, that's probably my most favorite part, is that my job doesn't just have to be about their medications. More times than not, it's just about other stuff. Things that they're curious about with my personal life, me asking about their family. And of course, there is quite a bit of medication information and health information and doctor's office visits, hospitals, things like that. But definitely my most favorite part would be able to be conversational with them in a very casual manner.
Yeah, this is really a hub, in my opinion, a hub of our community, and you see a lot of people come and go, and people you've probably known your whole life to people who are new to the neighborhood, and I feel like this is kind of one of those places where conversations happen.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. So what would you say are some skills that you need? Now, middle schoolers and high schoolers have the option to select this video. Some of them maybe because they're interested in becoming a pharmacist. So I'm kind of wondering, what are the skills that you feel are most important and connect to your job, while some of them might be those soft skills, like you said, just talking to people, or more trainable skills that they should expect?
Yeah, so I think pharmacy is very broad in the sense of where you can go within being a pharmacist. So I think the single most important skill or love or passion, if you want to become a pharmacist, is just science. And science is whether you're retail, your hospital, your industry, anything. You have to like science. If you don't like science, don't click this video. Within retail, you have to like people. I mean, I guess technically you don't have to, but your time spent in retail pharmacy will go much easier if you like people. Just like you will be if you're a teacher. Yes, you could be a teacher if you don't like people, but your job is that much better and you're that much more impactful if you like people. So communication, if you're working retail, is the absolute most important. Patience. Patience, and I don't mean P-A-T-I-E-N-T-S. I mean actual having patience with your patients is probably the most, second, third most important thing. But communication, patience, and loving science, I say, would be top 3.
Yeah, that's great. So what would you say, and I'm sure that this job has brought a lot of new challenges given
Sure.
the time that we're in right now, but that or in general, what are some challenges that you face in your job?
Pharmacy has been around for so long, and it's so scrutinized, not in a good or a bad way, it's just, it's the center of patient healthcare.
Yeah.
So just like a doctor's office or a hospital, there are so many regulating bodies that follow you, and there's so many laws that you have to abide by, and because it's so patient-centered, it's always changing. Technology is rampant, in a good way,
Yeah.
in pharmacy. So you have to be up on technology a lot, whether it's your own business or you work for a chain. I guess if you work for a chain, you kind of get things forced on you, but if someone is lucky enough to own their own business, to be successful, you have to accept change and allow technology to come in, because the further we get along, the more we're expected to do for less money in a shorter time. It almost becomes like a fast food. So you don't get to those levels without incorporating technology. So that would be very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say is your work environment like?
My personal one would be retail. It might as well be like I work in a grocery store, or any retail for that matter. So it's patient facing. I see them all the time. Like I said earlier, it's very conversational. It can be as professional as the person wants. Obviously, as the pharmacist or a technician, no matter what someone says, you always keep it professional, and you kind of know. Don't talk politics, don't get into certain things. But I mean, there are some people that they can come in, they don't pick up a prescription, they don't buy anything, they just want to come in and chat. And that's kind of why it's important to like people, because you got to be able to just talk sometimes about nothing, and be passionate to them, as if you would be if they're talking about a loved one or a medication question or anything like that.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay, so you mentioned that you work as a retail pharmacist, but that must mean that there's other options to be a pharmacist.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than sounding biased, the options are truly endless with pharmacy. Retail pharmacy is obviously the most well known, because everybody knows Rite Aid, CVS, Walmart, independent pharmacies. But your options outside of there are truly endless. Hospital pharmacy is very common. Every hospital you go to, they also have a pharmacy. They have pharmacists. Sometimes it's as simple as being down in the basement, or sometimes they're up on the floor rounding to patients, doing med recs and everything like that, consulting with doctors. Other avenue that is ever growing and very popular is within the pharmaceutical industry. So that will be working for pharmaceutical companies that we know of: Moderna, Pfizer, Merck, Bristol Myers Squibb, things like that. And I would probably need another 45-minute video just to truly discuss all the avenues within industry. That's where most of the random career paths can come within there. I mean, you could work with lawyers, you can be a medical liaison. I mean, I could go on forever.
Yeah,
that's where there's a lot of jobs.
I think that's good though for kids to hear, because what they're used to seeing going here or CVS or wherever it might be isn't the only opportunity that exists. So even just hearing you say that, I think will help kids kind of understand that they can explore other avenues, and getting a degree in pharmacy opens a lot of doors. And that kind of brings me into my next question, and that's regarding salary. So understandably, if in a career where there are so many paths you can take, the range of salary is going to be just as significant. But if you could just explain, what that range might be, and if there are opportunities for advancement in a career such as this.
Sure. So probably on the low end would be if you are a resident. So that means you graduate pharmacy school, and then you go on to work at either a hospital, a doctor's office, or one of the medical practices, and you would be deemed a resident. So there's PGY1 and PGY2. Technically, yes, you are graduated, but you're still a student under there, so you get half salary. So sometimes it can be, I mean, don't quote me on this, but usually it's anywhere from about 46 to 50,000. But you are still technically in school, you're still learning. It's an additional 2 years. And then from there, you can get jobs within there. After that, it will probably be hospital pharmacy. Again, no offense to anybody, or if I quote these numbers wrong, but usually hospital somewhere around probably 85 to 95,000. And then within there, obviously, each of these career paths have room for growth. But the starting salary would probably be right around where I said. Next would be retail pharmacy. That's a job that most students will take right out of college because it's guaranteed. There are always going to be jobs. It's a little bit more saturated now than it was 15, 10, 20 years ago. Starting salary for now has actually gone down a little bit. I would say that's probably maybe 100 to 130,000, depending on where you can get a job. And again, you can go up from there. You can be a pharmacy manager, which comes with more responsibilities. You can be a district manager, and then from there you kind of get out of the pharmacist role and get more into the managerial role.
Yeah.
And then the absolute highest would be if you could get into a manufacturer, drug manufacturer, working within the industry. Obviously within there are all different subsets of jobs that have different pays, but that is where you can probably get the quickest advancement into something that you're specialized. That I honestly couldn't even say. Could be 150, could be high as 500,000, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
Just because there are so many different career paths within there.
Sure, makes sense. And healthcare is something that we're always going to need.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
No,
definitely not.
No.
It's only getting more specialized. So.
That's right. So, Quinn, you went to Greenville High School. You know, I know that you took all the classes that kids are taking right now, watching this. I'm wondering if there were any classes you took, whether it be middle school or high school, or even clubs or activities you're involved in. Kind of your school experience, did any of that lend itself and relate to the career that you do now?
Yeah, I think if I let it lend itself, it would have.
Okay.
I wasn't very open-minded in high school. I didn't, I was just there to have fun and hang out with my friends. But yeah, obviously all the science classes would have been huge. Chemistry is the absolute most important. Chemistry and biology. Right. Those are pretty much everything that you will do within pharmacy school. Obviously every year it gets more and more specific. Physics is another good class. I didn't take that in high school, but that is a class you'll have to take in your undergrad. Statistics, calculus, all the math science classes. So you don't need to get 100 in all those classes, but just pay attention a little bit more than I did, and it will make your beginning years a lot easier.
Yeah, or what I like to tell kids too is when you're in school, taking these classes helps you figure out if it's right for you. Because I think you said it, if you don't enjoy science, then you're not going to enjoy a career in this. So really exposing yourself to those classes early on can give you a leg up. You can change your mind later, yes, but starting early is a good idea.
Yeah, I think that, I'm glad you said that, because that is probably the most important thing. I think we, some people can be so nervous at trying something new or trying something they don't like. And if it's broccoli or some type of food, then that's fine, you can live without it. But when you're going down a career path, you should find what you are either most nervous about or what you most hate about that career, try it.
Yes.
If you say, oh, I just want to be into X career, but you've never actually worked in it, you know nothing. You really don't know. And there would be a lot of kids that I would go to school with that were getting ready to be a pharmacist. They've never done it one day in their life. Just as anybody else, they could get in it and love it.
Right.
But you invest a lot of time and a lot of money into something that you don't ever know. So whatever you can do to immerse yourself in something you love or something you're unsure about or something you hate, the quicker you can find out that yes, this is what I want, or no, this is not what I want, you save yourself a lot of time and money by doing that. So.
What a wonderful piece of advice to end on. I want to thank you for your time. I know you are a very busy person, and this pharmacy is booming right now. So we appreciate your time and allowing us to do this interview for students who are interested. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is our COVID testing pod. I'll show you what the tests look like that we run. So this is the COVID-19 Binex Now antigen test card. So you'd open that up, kind of put it down just right on our little table. The test is a self-administered mid-nasal swab. So each patient will swab themselves. You pull the mask down, they go 1 inch up into the right nostril, 5 swirls. It's not painful, just tickles a little bit. So what we do is we put them into one of our dubbed sneeze chambers. That way, if it does tickle, which it probably will, if they do sneeze, I have them kind of contained in there, and I don't have to shut everything down. So we hand them the swab, they pull the mask down, 1 inch up, 5 big swirls touching all sides of the nostril. As much snot as they can get on it is actually better. Pull out, left side, another 5 big swirls, and then I grab the swab from them. And then I come over here, I grab the COVID-19 reagent, I put 6 drops of it into this little well, and then I take their swab, I insert it in the bottom, give it 3 turns, slap it up, and then I start the timer for 15 minutes. During that 15 minutes, either we have other people coming in and they're looking for tests. Obviously, we'll section each one off, clean it, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then wipe it down before the next person. And then in that time, we send them back to their car, and then we write up their receipt with all their information, positive or negative, bring it right out to them, and then they're on their merry way with their results in 15 minutes.